There we go. Now I'm seeing faces. Hi, everybody. Yeah, hi. There you go. Look at that. Nothing like a ringing phone to remind me to shut my phone off. Fabulous. So welcome, everybody. I'm so glad to have you here again for this week and for this next meditation together. And I'm hoping that my dear cats, Birdie and Wednesday, behave themselves. I fed them just a little while ago, and usually that prepares them to take a little nap. But my darling little Birdie is having an energy burst, so he's running around a bit. So I may need to stop at some point and put them in a room. I'm hoping I don't have to do that, but I'm just warning you ahead of time. So today, I thought what we could do is, as we have before, is first let me just say hi to all of you. Thank you for being here again. Hi, Eileen and Lonnie and Sandy and Sue. And I always like to just sort of scroll through Suzanne, Carolina, Brenda. Hi, yes. Hi, Sharon. I saw Sharon Senna and I immediately thought Sharon Stone is here. You're prettier than she is. Hi, Sarah. Hi, Jean. Hi, Nancy. Hi, Robin. Let's see, where's our guys? Do we have any guys here? Let's see. I bet we do somewhere. There, yeah. There we go. I wonder if Lewis is here. I don't see you anywhere, but hopefully you're here someplace. Anyways, so I just want to remind all of you that you can go to my YouTube channel, which is Cheryl Richardson TV, and rewatch any of these classes and do any of the meditations that we've done in the past since the beginning. We've recorded these, of course, and then we upload them to YouTube right there. So you can always just get a refresher if you'd like that, or if you want to experience meditating with the group in a recorded way, you can do that as well. It's just as beneficial and helpful. And so you're able to do that. And then today I thought we would start, as we have before, with maybe just hearing from a few of you in terms of success stories around your experience of being present in everyday life, in some particular area of your life. Remember, that was the homework the last time, to really choose something that you do every day and practice being present to that experience as a way. Yes, I see Judith and Chuck is here. There we go. Hi, welcome. I'm glad you're back. And that exercise is a way to help you begin to bring the experience of meditation and being in the present moment into your everyday life. Because ultimately, what we want is to be able to maintain, let's just say, cultivate the ability to maintain a witnessing perspective as we go through our daily lives, right? Remembering, oh, I'm a soul. I'm not my thinking mind. I'm not my reactive mind. I'm not that noisy voice in my head. I'm not that crazy train speeding towards some, unpleasant destination. I am a very wise being. My authentic self, capital S, exists behind that mind. The mind is the tool that I use to function in the world, but it's not who I am. Too many of us are identified with we think we are our thoughts, right? We think we are the personality that was formed from a very young age to help us navigate this world. But in fact, we're not. All of us in unity are souls here in this experience on earth. And what we want ultimately is for meditation to give us a way of remembering that on a regular basis in daily life. Why is that beneficial? First of all, you have access to a kind of calm inner state that just feels good. You have access to more energy because there is energy flowing in the universe all around us. And very often, our uncomfortable experiences, the memories of those experiences, block that energy from flowing through us in life. And so we can feel depleted, exhausted, irritable, fatigued, easily triggered by things, anxious. All of these things can happen when the energy that's naturally moving through the universe and moving through us gets stuck. And so meditation is a way of opening up that energy. We're going to talk a little bit more about that. I'm going to talk a little more about that after our first meditation as a focus for this week. So it really is about bringing this calm inner state into your everyday life. Then you just end up being a much better person to be around, and you don't get triggered so much, and you cultivate patience, which is a skill many of us could really benefit from using. So, and you learn to create a comfortable place inside so that you're not afraid to visit there. You know, many people stay busy in the outer world because getting quiet and being with their own inner, I love it, Michael Singer calls it your own inner roommate, can be a very, very uncomfortable experience. Because if you think about it, I mean, just think about this. If somebody in your life, external to you, spoke to you the way your inner roommate speaks to you, you'd probably get rid of them as a friend, wouldn't you? I mean, really, because many of us are incredibly critical. And so what we're trying to do is cultivate this warm and loving relationship, this neutral relationship, by no longer identifying with the thinking mind, but instead developing the trust that when I close my eyes and get quiet and sit by myself, I can trust that I will be a good roommate to myself, right? That I will be a loving presence and a safe place for myself instead of a place that is tormenting me in some fashion. So let's start with a couple of success examples, please, as they relate to the exercise that we had to be present in some area of your life. And yes, I'm going to start with you, Mama Katz. I'm going to ask you to unmute. There you
Hi.
go. Hi.
I'm very excited to be here, and actually I can show you what I've been doing. I'm doing a prayer shawl for a friend who's fighting breast cancer. Mm-hmm. And so the energy that I put into it while I'm doing it, if I'm worried about her or whatever, I set it down. So I've been meditating and mindfully doing each stitch, and so that the whole shawl and body's calm. Mm-hmm. And anyways, it's very interesting because then when I see it in the chair, I get this calm as well. So that's what I've been doing. And I brought it here. So hopefully all our energies can also be of loving care and health to my friend Robin, who's fighting breast cancer. Can go into this cell. That's
really beautiful. Thank you. That's a great example of an activity that you can bring presence to and have such a beautiful, beneficent influence, you know, on the outcome, and the energy will matter. I mean, it will impact your friend without a doubt. So that's really a beautiful example. Thank you very much. Thank you. Sharon, what about you? There you go. Hi, Sharon.
Hi. My example is not as sweet as Mama Katz, but I've been trying just in the basic things that we do that we often try to rush through, like doing the dishes or folding laundry or cleaning the pool after a storm. You know, those kind of activities where you tend to try to rush, just trying to breathe into them and just be present, because they'll get done in the same amount of time, but how you feel can be very different.
Yes, that's a really important point, Sharon. It's helpful for all of us to think about how many times you're engaged in an activity and you're focused on what you're going to do next, or where you need to go next, or the things that have to be done that you haven't gotten to yet, or what you're looking forward to because you don't really want to be doing what you're doing. The reality is that when you bring presence to the moment, when you come into the moment with anything it is that you're doing, it can become quite an extraordinarily enriching experience. It's a lot of adjectives there, but it can be a very enriching experience to actually be present for those things. And this is the other reason that we meditate, to teach ourselves to be where we are, to actually experience the cutting up of vegetables, the warm water on your hands as you wash dishes, the sound of the sifting cat litter as I'm cleaning the cat boxes, right? The sound of your footsteps as you walk on leaves in your yard, or the sound of the swishing water as you're cleaning, debris from the surface of a pool. Those kinds of experiences or senses can be quite pleasant when we're actually there for them. But too many of us are focused on where we're going to go next or what we need to do next rather than be where we are. And you know what? All you have in life is where you are right now. That's all you have. That's the only promise you have, is this moment. And so I would hate to waste this moment thinking about what I'm going to do in the next moment. I would just hate to waste that. Because what if this were my last moment? I'd rather be focused on the beauty of life in this moment than where I'm going to be headed. So thank you very much, Sharon. That's a great example. I appreciate it. Hi, Jean. Welcome. Can you unmute yourself, dear? Go ahead, do it again. Let's try it again. You had it 1 second. There you go, I think. Yeah. Hi.
Hi. I have a window in my bathroom, and every time I get up in the morning, I look out the window and I see the glorious sunrise. And I just focus on it, and it's so beautiful. And I sometimes take pictures of it. But that's what I like to focus on, among other things. But yeah, I just love this.
Yeah, that's beautiful. That's beautiful to be present for the sunrise. Actually be present for that. If we polled people and asked them when the last time was that they were present for a sunrise, you would be shocked at the number of people who would say, I can't remember. I have no memory of the last time I saw a sunrise. And how beautiful that you have it right there in your bathroom. I hope it's like opposite the toilet.
I call it my little window in the world of the world.
There you go. That's great. Thank you so much, Jean. I appreciate that. So yeah, there are opportunities. I'm really lucky when I wake up in the morning, right now at this time of year where the sun is rising is right directly in the window that I look out of while lying in my bed. So the sunrise can actually wake me up. And there are times too where I just lay there and I think, wow, what's the likelihood of this bed being positioned in this room, in this house being positioned on this lot in such a way that I can lay here and watch the horizon turn the most vivid orangey pink and then suddenly have this glowing ball of light rise up? I mean, what a gift that is. If that was my last moment, that wouldn't be such a bad last moment, would it? And I'd hate to be laying there thinking about all the dishes that I have to do or the calls I have to make while the sunrise was happening in front of me. That kind of extraordinary moment is happening in front of all of us all the time. We're just not present for it. And so I'm so grateful that you all have decided to actually become present for it. So good. Let's move on, shall we? I thought we could start once again with a meditation for Ukraine and for all people influenced by the war. Let's keep working at it, people. Let's just keep visualizing. I'm going to visualize a gold blanket of peace. I'll guide you through that, dropping down over the just all of the places that need peace right now. And you can, if you want to change the color, you can do that. If you want to visualize something different, but I'll just kind of gently lead us through that process so that we can put our good energy toward peace for this just such painful, difficult time. And then after that, we're going to talk about energy. So you are all becoming masters at meditating. I'm so grateful to be in your company and to be able to meditate with you. And so as we get ready, let's go ahead and make yourself comfortable, feather your little nest wherever you are, as we've talked about before. And when you're ready, you can close your eyes and remember some of the some of what we've learned already about breathing in slowly through your nose. Remember, already you've closed your eyes, so your brain's already making alpha waves, already slowing you down. It's beautiful the way the body works that way. Breathing slowly in through your nose, and then breathing even more slowly out through your nose. Let's just do that a few times. Beautiful. And as you continue, you can tune into your body and just relax the muscles in your face. Let all the little muscles just relax. And you can drop your shoulders. Let the chair that you're sitting in hold your weight. Just let your body sink into the chair, sink into the sofa, wherever you are. Let yourself be held. And from this deeply relaxed place, let's imagine a golden blanket of peace gently descending over all of Ukraine, over all of the surrounding countries with refugees, Poland, and imagine this blanket descending over Russia as well. See all people impacted by war and suffering being enveloped in this beautiful blanket of peace, this healing blanket of peace. You can imagine this blanket quieting the area, creating ceasefire, putting an end to suffering. Healing broken hearts and bodies. Take your time and imagine that in whatever way feels comfortable to you. Doing great. So loving and helpful. Now together, let's try something a little different. In whatever way works for you, I'd like you to take 5 slow, deep breaths in through the nose, and then exhale out through the nose. And as you're doing that, I just want you to use the mantra peace. So you can breathe in and you can just repeat to yourself, peace, peace, peace. And then breathe out and do the same thing. Let's do 5 breaths together, quietly to yourself. Beautiful. And when you're ready, you can slowly bring yourself back to this moment here with all of us. And remember, we've talked about this before. It's not uncommon to find yourself crying. It's not uncommon it's sad enough what's going on. It's human beings. I think I've said this before. It's so rare that we stop and just be with ourselves in a loving and kind and gentle way. And so it's not uncommon to feel sadness in and of itself, let alone with such tragedy happening in the world. And it's a bit of an introduction to what I want to talk to you about in the class this week, and that is energy and what happens when uncomfortable feelings arise in us in life, whether it's in meditation or not. And I want to just let you all know right up front that in some ways this is it's almost like I want to say this is a PhD level conversation. So please keep that in mind. I'm planting seeds. That's really what I'm doing here, is planting seeds. But I also get how wise you all are. As we learn to meditate, very often, I mean, what stops people from meditating is when they do get quiet, a lot of times really uncomfortable memories come up. And they might be memories related to you and your life. It could be memories related to something you saw in the news. Could be memories related to a conversation you just had with somebody. Uncomfortable feelings can come up. And our natural tendency, the way we've been trained since we were very young, is to stop it, stuff it down, cut it off, ignore it. I'm making up, deny it, disassociate from it, just not be present to those feelings. Now, some of that training came from when we were very young and we didn't have the capacity, the maturity to deal with the uncomfortable things that were going on in our lives. So we had to develop mechanisms to be able to keep ourselves safe and sane, quite frankly. So for some people that meant disassociating, going someplace else. For others, it meant getting rageful and angry, like having big feelings about it and throwing a tantrum. For some, it meant running to the refrigerator for food. For some, it meant drinking alcohol or using drugs, like anything to kind of shut down the feeling mechanism. But when we start to meditate, we're actually opening up to the energy of the universe. And what that means is we're also opening up to uncomfortable feelings. So, of course, if we're meditating about peace in Ukraine, all kinds of stuff can come up while I'm meditating around that. It might be images that I saw in the news yesterday or a month ago. It could be something I heard on the radio. And rather than grab a hold of them and stop it, which to me is like keeping the experience stuck inside of me, I want to get in the habit, and I'm inviting you all to begin the practice of opening up and allowing the feeling to just flow through you. I mentioned this in one of the early classes. I think I called it rise and release, right? You let an uncomfortable feeling rise up and you just let it release. I think it was, I don't know if it was Sharon Salzberg. I may have read somewhere where the Buddhist teacher, Sharon Salzberg, talks about how you are the sky and your feelings are a weather pattern. So the feelings that we have about memories or experiences in our life come up, our moods, our weather patterns. We have certain feelings and experiences that come up, certain moods that happen, and those weather patterns, if we don't grab a hold of them and try and stop them or stuff them, if we just let them go by, they pass. And we stay rooted to ourselves as the sky, the soul. So I think capital S for the sky, capital S for the soul, capital S for the self, the high self. So what does this mean in everyday life? I've noticed things like, as an example, the other day I was going through some old things in a closet and I came across a favorite little toy that my former cat Poupon used to play with. Some of you have read what I've written about him over the past. He was, the first really close pet that my husband Michael and I had as an adult. And I was really heartbroken when he died. So I was going through and I came across this ball. And the first thought was, oh gosh, I remember when he used to play with this toy. And I felt this pain come up. And the next experience was, okay, just breathe, which was my way of going, no, don't go there. But then I remembered, oh, I'm practicing rising and releasing. And so I allowed those feelings to come up. I literally imagined myself opening my chest. Like I allow those feelings to come up. So I imagine myself opening my chest. Oh, there's the sadness. Let it come up, sweetheart. Let it rise and release. Let it rise and release. Whatever is there, just let it rise and release. And interestingly enough, it passes pretty quickly. And then suddenly I feel I have more energy as a result. And this happens over time. It takes a lot of energy to suppress our feelings. I want you to know that. just like eating carbohydrates when you're upset gives you the illusion of calming down, it depletes your energy shortly afterwards. It's the same thing with when we try to not feel uncomfortable feelings that come up. We take precious energy from our lives and we stop the flow of energy that's always happening. Is this making sense? Like, could you just shake your heads if it makes sense? Good. Okay. Because it's a bit of a, it is a more advanced conversation. It's not an easy thing to notice when uncomfortable feelings come up and just allow yourself to have them and release them. I'm not suggesting you grab a hold and wallow in them, because that's the same thing as just hanging on to them. And of course, I'm also not suggesting that sometimes we have very difficult experiences that need to come up over and over again and actually may need to be worked through with a therapist. Huge supporter of good therapy. But on a day-to-day basis, so that particular day, I just thought, oh, you know what? The love I had for this little being is worthy of the grief that I feel in this moment. Let it rise and release. You know, or the other day I was, these are like such stupid things, but they're human things. I woke up in the morning and it was so dry in the house that like my hands just felt like sandpaper. And I woke up and I thought, oh, I hate this dry weather. I can't stand how dry it is. And I went, oh, wow, sweetheart, if you can't handle the dry weather, just imagine how you're going to handle the big things in life. Let it rise and release. Let the feeling of, oh, I don't like this, or this is uncomfortable, just let it rise and release it. And before you knew it, it was gone and I was going about my day. So there is a flow of energy, a river of energy moving through all of our lives. And the meditation is sort of like the entrance gate where we learn to allow that energy to flow through us rather than jamming it up with all of these, you know, the mishigash of experiences that the mind wants to generate. So just like in meditation, we notice, oh, this feeling comes up or these thoughts are happening. I'm just going to let them pass. It's the same thing with the feelings. I'm just going to let them pass. I'm just going to let them pass. And we can begin to consciously practice that in meditation and then eventually bring it to our everyday lives where just start to notice when you feel angsty about something, when you feel irritated about something, when you feel impatient, when you feel frustrated, when you feel sad about something, or, you know, angry at your spouse for that they left their socks on the floor again for the 17th time. Just notice when I'm saying that because my husband, Michael, just walked in the house. I heard him. Not that he does that. He doesn't leave his socks on the floor. He's looking at me like, hey, wait a minute. But, you know, we all, if we share space with people, we all get aggravated by each other, beginning to notice when, excuse me, when that happens and allowing that to just flow through rather than grabbing a hold of it. Because you know what your mind's going to do? How many times have you done this? You see the socks on the floor, you think, how many times have I asked this person, this kid, the spouse, whatever, to put the socks away? If you get on that crazy train, the mind's going to go to, this happens all the time. They never listen to me. They don't care about me. I'm the one that does everything. I'm the one that's always left picking everything up. You know what? It's been that way my whole damn life. Everybody's always like dropping shit and I got to pick it up. How many of you have ever done that? You create this whole narrative. The mind just goes, yeehaw, she grabbed a hold of that or he grabbed a hold of that. We're running with it. And we're going to make the most amazing movie when the response is, oh, wait a second, rise and release. Just rise and release. So let's practice this. Let's do a brief meditation where in this meditation, we're just going to focus on allowing whatever comes up, that practice of however you want to do it, maybe opening your heart, opening your chest. Oh, that memory comes up. Let me just let it rise and release. Oh, that irritation at this person. Let me just let it rise and release, right? So let's try that. Let's get into a comfortable position. Again. I love seeing your beautiful faces when you're meditating. I can tell you all have been doing this. I can tell you all look like you are experienced meditators. And some of you look pretty darn comfortable, I might add. Okay. So getting into your comfortable place and closing your eyes. And this time we can tune into our senses. We've done this before. Just to come into the present moment, we notice where we are in space. We notice what the body feels like in the chair or in the bed or on the sofa. What does your body feel like? What are you feeling? Notice any sounds in the room. Any sense. Bring yourself into this moment. And just practice being here with yourself. Noticing when any feeling arises, you just open your heart and let it release. So just let the thoughts pass by and the feelings rise and release. Beautiful. When you're ready, you can slowly bring yourself back. And maybe we could hear from a couple of people we haven't heard from before about anything you might have experienced during that. Did you have any kind of experience of rising and releasing? You can use the raise your hand button at the bottom under where it says reactions if you're on a laptop. Yeah. Okay. Yes, Mari. Hey, Mari, welcome.
Hi,
Hi, how are you?
great. A big hug from Mexico. So it was weird to feel so calm at this time of day. Normally we're rushing. So doing this rise and release, it's going to be my new favorite thing to do. It was so simple and so powerful. I thank you so much because you have that always that magical touch to give us tools that are so powerful and so practical. So thank you very much. I loved feeling so peaceful at this time of day.
Good, good. So, Mari, where in Mexico are you?
Mexico City.
Mexico City, yes.
Yeah.
So first of all, I'm really glad you're here. And I'm so glad to hear that you can experience a sense of peace and calmness during a time during the day that maybe you don't normally feel that.
Right.
Imagine if you could feel it all day long.
Oof.
Imagine what would your life be like if you could feel that all day long?
I think less reactive and more joyful.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So that's why over this period of time that we've been doing these together, I've really encouraged people to practice 10 minutes a day. You notice we're still on the 10 minutes and we're going to continue with the 10 minutes because we really want to build a practice over time. If you want to meditate longer than 10 minutes, you're welcome to. However, the commitment is only for 10 minutes. And how many of you have been able to do that? Just raise your physical hands. Yeah, keep the commitment. That's great. I know I've received some emails. And so, Mari, you've been doing it too. So that's why this is going to get easier. It gets easier and easier as you practice. And what you could do, Mari, is challenge yourself to start practicing now at the time during the day where you normally wouldn't feel so calm. And begin to notice, wow, how does my life change as a result of doing that? So when the feelings, and this happens to me a lot because I'm such a like a doer, like I like to get things done. And it will happen where I'll start meditating and before you know it, my mind is going, oh, but I have to do this and I want to do that. And I'm going to get this, this, and this. And the energy starts to build. The mind generates this energy, this really cortisol, adrenaline of like, oh, I've got to hurry up and finish this meditation because there's so many things to do. And now I just let that feeling rise and release. Oh, yes, sweetheart, you think there's so much to do. Let it rise and release. Oh, yes, you have this long to-do list. Oh, you're anxious. Just let it rise and release. Return to a calm, centered moment. So
wow. I love it. What you mentioned about your mind racing with he didn't pick up the socks, that means he doesn't love me, that I'm always doing these things. Yes. The racing mind during the day gets out of hand. I think we are beginning to feel again so many things.
Yes.
But we need these tools. So thank you very much.
Yeah, you're very welcome. And I'm so glad you're here. Thank you. Thank you. Let's go to Kathy. Hey, Kathy, welcome.
I'm sorry. Hi.
There you go. Hi.
Like Mari, this has been a very eventful day, and it started at like 4 a.m. for me, and it's now 4 p.m. And so it's been very stressful. So doing this was, it took me a moment to get into it, but then I could feel myself. I changed the position of my hands so that they were open. And then that made me feel much better. And I realized that I was releasing more then. And I felt much calmer and much more serene and much more centered into the meditation.
Good. Great. That's great. Thank you so much, Kathy. And that's a very good point. Opening your hands, opening your body, like uncrossing your legs or uncrossing your arms is just also energetically a way to just allow yourself to release energy, for sure. Hey, Sandy, how about you? Hi, Sandy.
Hi.
You go.
This is my first time. I saw you on Facebook and I remembered you from back in the Oprah days. And I was up last night from 2 to 4. I'm having trouble sleeping.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw this topic and I signed up for it. And I said, well, maybe that'll help me, something I can do at night. I have tried different things, but my mind it's like all kinds of things going in my mind. And during that last meditation, I thought I fell asleep.
Wow.
And I don't think any thoughts came rising up.
That's okay.
I was still relaxed.
Good.
So I don't know. I'm going to go listen to your YouTubes. And
I was going to say, because we've talked about some of what you're talking about, Sandy, in prior gatherings. So I would absolutely encourage you to start at the first one, and which, let me see if I have the date here. I think I have it. I think the date of the first one was when I did not put down a date.
I've been taking some notes. So it was Cheryl Richardson TV, right, on YouTube.
Yes, and Terry put the link in the chat box here, so you can find that. It was sometime in February, I think, the beginning of February. Lisa, do you know, hon? I'm going to unmute you, Lisa. This is my beautiful assistant, Lisa. There you go. Hi, Lisa. When was it?
January 19th.
January 19th. Okay, great.
January?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, we've been doing this a while then. What do you know?
That's why we're so good.
Thank you. I'm glad I found it, and I'm going to try it.
Good. Yes.
Thanks, everybody.
Do the meditations as you're listening to the YouTube. I think you'll find it really helpful. Thanks, Sandy.
Thank you.
I want to respond to 2 questions I received via email because I said that I would. One was, and this is from Lonnie. Thank you so much. I got your email and your great story. I find the more and longer and more often I meditate, the more often and longer I write or journal. Can you comment on that? I don't know, except to say that I think learning to meditate teaches us to be present with ourselves, to be more patient with being present to ourselves. And so I wouldn't be surprised. I have found over time that depending on what's going on in my life, I can often meditate longer, and I actually have been writing a lot more since I do morning pages, Julia Cameron's morning pages now every morning. And I find that I have the patience to do that because of my meditation. I stick with myself longer. And that's, again, we're becoming a safe place for us to be. And when you befriend yourself, when you become loving toward yourself, when you feel comfortable spending time with yourself, you can do all sorts of things. You'll go out on walks with yourself and you won't be listening to a podcast or music. You'll drive in the car quietly because you'll actually like your own company rather than needing to distract yourself from the crazy person in your head. So I'm not surprised by that. Another question, can staring at clouds count as meditation? This has come up before. Someone was asking, can counting the leaves on a tree count as meditation? as in daydreaming, or is the process of closing your eyes and breathing what makes it meditation? I would say there's probably all kinds of meditation. Thich Nhat Hanh talked about walking meditation, right? Being present, noticing. There's times where I'll go out for a walk and I will feel each footstep as a way of bringing myself into the present moment. I absolutely have laid in the bathtub staring at clouds out the window. And I see that as a way of being present. A lot of times I'm not thinking a lot of thoughts. I'm just in the moment looking at the beautiful clouds, staring at a sunset. Remember, this is why moments in nature, like a sunrise, like a sunset, like I know that deer will show up in my backyard and take my breath away. Why? Because they instantly bring me into the moment, right? I can look out the window and see a gorgeous bluebird and think, oh, look at the color of that bluebird. Why is it so moving in that moment? Because I'm actually there for it. So I say all of those things are forms of meditation, and the practice of closing your eyes and getting quiet and being with yourself, breathing, learning to let the feelings rise and release and let the thoughts just float by, because you are the sky, and your thoughts and your moods and your emotional experiences are merely weather patterns. Doing those things is also an important practice in and of itself. I think that that's really what builds the trust that we have in ourselves in that way. So, Joan, how about you? Hi, Joan. I'm asking you to unmute.
Hi, Cheryl and everyone. I'm on my phone. I'm going to stay on no video for now.
Yeah.
But I am part of your community in Greater Boston. We've spoken before, but I haven't been on for a long time. But I'm keeping up with these meditations. I'd like to comment first on, if you don't mind, on the meditation for the Ukraine.
Yes.
When we were visualizing, the blanket and all, what came to mind for me as that was happening was Glinda in Wizard of Oz with the poppies and bringing the snow down and healing everything there. And I just started crying.
Yeah.
I'll start to cry now.
Yeah. It's beautiful. Beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah, just breathe.
And then
take your time.
Yeah.
Let yourself feel that for the moment.
Well, yeah. Well, you guys don't want to hear all of it, because it's been one of these really deep emotional release days for me.
Yeah.
And and when I remembered that it was 4:00, I said, well, I've been stopping for different meditations for myself today and talking to friends and just losing it on the phone, and which is healthy and all, but want to at least be able to breathe to tell you why.
Yeah.
So thank you.
You're welcome. You're very welcome, Joan. Thank you for
sure. Well, and one thing, thank you. And I guess as we talk about feelings that come up, one of how I've been meditating for, when I thought about it, a few decades now, and of course it's a journey. So I understand and relate to what you're telling folks who are just starting out. And I would just encourage everyone to, in the whole purpose of this, stay present. Don't compare yourself to anybody else or what anyone else is getting for reactions or whatever, or because it happens when it's supposed to. And at least that's what, and I've been sharing that with a friend of mine who's been kind of frustrated. And she says, I don't see colors. I said, you don't have to. It's whatever's meant to be for you. Don't worry about it. Just be, and be gentle with yourself.
Well, and I want to point out that that's what the mind does, right? That's the mind saying, oh, you're supposed to see colors. Oh, the mind's going to do whatever it needs to do to distract you from the present moment. That's its job. Minds think. And your mind, my mind, each one of our minds thinks differently. My personal mind knows exactly how to grab my attention when I'm in the present moment. And it grabs it with my own history and my own behaviors and habits. Your mind does the same thing. So it's a beautiful advice to give your friend. And also, Joan, I want to say, when you talk about, being in a period of time where there's a lot of deep releasing going on, that's where release is such an important word, because the temptation when we're going through emotionally difficult times is to hang on to them. The mind wants to mentally churn through, and it also depends on the type of person you are. The mind wants to grab a hold of those meaty, juicy, difficult things and just chew on them. And it's why it's so important for us to be focused on rise and release, allowing ourselves to just, okay, this wave of feeling is coming. I'm going to let myself cry. I'm going to let myself grieve. I'm going to let myself feel whatever it is. I'm going to release it and just let the next wave come.
Right.
Yeah.
And thank you. Well, and today, I have so many good things happening, and I'm overwhelmed. I was overwhelmed. I'm overtired from, I'm launching finally a new business and my truly launching it, and my website. We're in the final stages within the next 2 days to have that done. And I'm, juggling a day job, like everyone, we're doing different things. But when I stopped, because I felt like I was having a panic attack. And so I stopped. I got my sound bowl meditation on that I have on YouTube that always helps me. And I have different ones. I do tapping and stuff too, depending on, I kind of go with how I feel and I know how I resonate. But as I started to do it and get my breath back, and I started to cry, and then I was sobbing, and I just started talking out loud, and I said, I miss my dad.
Yeah.
Because I was used to celebrate. I have to celebrate with that. This is fine. This is this huge thing that I'm doing for myself, and I'm going to this new dimension, if you will. I've had people say to me over the years, psychics keep saying, "Why are you playing small? When you've got to stop playing small," and because there's been all this stuff brewing, and anyway, this is what came up. The grief from him not being here to celebrate with. He's been gone 21 years. My mom's been gone over 40. And on this whole COVID thing, I'm single, I've been alone. And all this stuff just it's in waves, like you said. So yeah. But that's the major thing today is I really miss my dad and his hugs and the celebration. Yeah. And I said, I have to let this out. I can't hold it in because I can't breathe,
That's right. Thank you, Joan. Thank you. Joan brings up a really important point too, that this is a good example of, I miss my dad. No surprise when you're launching something new out into the world, the masculine, it's about putting stuff out into the world. It's a good example of when that kind of grief comes up, we really do want to just let it come up. That's the kind of, that's the beauty of grief. Grief really teaches us how to connect with our feelings, because when you experience loss, significant loss, you can't pretend you don't experience it, right? So grieving gives us an opportunity to really practice rising and release. So thank you very much for that, Joan. I appreciate it. And we're at the end of our time. And Joan, do me a favor. If your website is going to be available to public people, could you put it in the chat box, please? Because why not take advantage and let all the people here, if you want, let them know what your website is. So maybe we can help launch it in a really lovely way. So I am going to be, I'm looking at the next date, and I'm tied up for the rest of the month. So I'm going to give you homework for the next several weeks. And on Wednesday, May 4th, Terry, can you let me know if that will work for you, dear? Wednesday, May 4th at 4 p.m. will be our next gathering together.
Cheryl, that's fine.
Oh, good. Thank you, Terry. Okay, good. Yeah. So May 4th. And what I'd love for you all to do between now and then is two things. Continue to do the daily meditation, 10 minutes a day, and tracking it. Remember, tracking is so important. It's like giving yourself a little gold star at the end of the day. So tracking it, and practice this rise and release. Now you can practice it both in the meditation or you can practice it in your daily life as you even do. Remember, okay, so 3 things. 10-minute meditation. We have a few weeks, so you can do this. 10-minute meditation. Practice being present in some area of your life. I saw somebody, who was it in here, said her teeth have never felt so good. Deborah, you were saying, my teeth have never gotten this much loving attention. Who knew that you could brush your teeth without at the same time taking off your socks, lining up your makeup, putting away your shoes? Oh my gosh, that is such a beautiful example, Deborah. And she's now giving her teeth loving attention. This makes me so happy. So give yourself loving attention by being present in some area of your life. And then the third thing is practicing the rise and release, whether it's during meditation or when something happens in your life and you feel frustrated, angst, energy rising in some way, let yourself feel it, open your chest, rise and release, and just notice what happens. And we'll talk about that when we resume again on May 4th. All right? All right, everybody. Thank you so much for being here with me. As always, I really appreciate it. Thank you, Joan. I'm glad we see your website, joancovino.com, and it'll be live this weekend. And I'm just so grateful to all of you for being here. I send you so much love. Let's continue to hold Ukraine in our hearts and in our meditation, seeing that blanket of peace just descending over that whole area, all of the places where there's suffering in the world. And I will look forward to seeing you in May. All right. Thank you, everybody. Take good care. Bye.